regardless if Rodgers is on the team or not, they'll still never draft a receiver in the first round.
Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now. The Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother.
They're gonna run out of cheeseheads soon.
The Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Check it out now. The Funk Soul Brother. Right about now, the Funk Soul Brother. Right about now. About now. About now. About now.
What is popping, y'all? It is your man Clubboy Bales, and welcome to another episode of Wisco Sports Weekly, where obviously we're going to discuss the Packers' first round pick this year. They did not trade up from one of their second round picks into the first round. I was thinking they could do it, but I knew it was a long shot. I tried sticking through, but then I kind of left where I was at yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I need some sleep. Let's just get ready for tomorrow. This is my favorite day of the draft, because usually this is the night of, it's the weekend, I'm out late, it's fun. But looking at it, I am absolutely stoked that we got Lucas Van Ness. Originally, I have a tradition where I dye Easter eggs, and I actually predict who I think the Packers are going to get, and I actually said Lucas Van Ness. I thought he was the perfect fit for a Packer, but as time went on, I switched it the week of after the Rodgers trade to Darnell Wright, because I was thinking they're just going to try to find Bakhtiari's replacement, which makes sense. But the Bears got Wright instead. So then I was like, if Van Ness is available, I guess take him. Because I was like, you need edge rushers, because Rashawn Gary, he ain't going to be ready to start the season. And Preston Smith, year by year, he's been in the league for a very long time. He's getting older, so honestly, you might see him get cut in the future. But you need the depth at the edge rusher position is weak. Other than Gary and Preston Smith, you got no one. I mean, Kingsley Enikbare has showed some flashes, and Justin Hollins actually did some flashes last year too. But none of these guys are real stars. And when Rashawn Gary was out there, they were able to pressure faster than their defense was so blank when Gary was gone. They need another high stake pass rusher. And that's why I like this pick. I can't stand these fair-weather Packer fans who are out here mad because we didn't draft a receiver. Yes, I get our wide receiver room right now is Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, Jeff Cotton, and Bo Melton. That's our wide receiver room right now. Probably the weakest in the NFL. But seriously, we draft receivers and tight ends in the second round. Okay? That's our thing. I get we've drafted defense primarily in this entire decade, and it's never worked out. But come on. It's just the simple solution. What else? I don't care who you draft. That's how the Packers go. They like their first round picks to be guys that have potential. This guy has potential. 6'5", 272 pounds. Obviously only played 2 full years as a starter. Pretty much, he was redshirting during the COVID year. He had 60 pounds. He did good. He ran a 4.58 in the 40-yard dash, the 164 in the 10-yard split. He had a fantastic combine. Really showed how good of an athlete he is. When I look at him, I see possibly Bosa, even J.J. Watt. Honestly, you could see those comparisons that Lucas Van Ness has. He can ball out. The only downside, I forget that Iowa hates playing younger people. They have always favorited upperclassmen. They have always been that way. So because Van Ness was a redshirt sophomore at the time, he wasn't in every single snap. However, in his 2 years that he came in there, he totaled 13 sacks, which in my mind says he should have been starting more if he was actually able to come off and get these dubs. I watched his highlights. The dude was unbelievable. He has so much Nick Bosa. He has so much TJ Watt. He has so much JJ Watt even. This man could be a top tier player if it really comes down to it. Some people are saying he might be the next Clay Matthews. I don't think we're ever going to see a player as explosive as Clay Matthews, but I really think he's going to be a great player. He has been rising up talent-wise. Looking at his stat lines this season, 33 tackles and 7 sacks as a freshman, and 38 tackles and 6.5 sacks as a sophomore. That's his highlights. Pretty much defensive tackle and defensive end. He kind of switched around, but likely he's going to be an edge rusher because he does have that physicalness that you really want to have in a player. Looking at other stat lines, I think this is a guy from Barrington, Illinois. He was just, he's super talented under Kirk Ferentz. But you know what? He did show some respects. I think, the Packers really took notice of him, and I said they were going to draft him. And I was right. I was thinking it was going to be tackle to find Bakhtiari's replacement, but it makes sense. Find Preston Smith's replacement, or obviously start for Rashawn Gary until he comes back. That makes more sense. And I think he's going to be a rotational player. I think he's possibly a Rookie of the Year candidate if he plays the entire year. I mean, I get people hate this pick because they wanted a receiver like Jackson Smith-Njigba or a tight end like Dalton Kincaid or whatever. But I mean, people were furious when we drafted Rashawn Gary, and look how he turned out. He does have a lot of flashness like Zadarius Smith, Van Ness does. But you know what? With Gary recovering from knee surgery, Van Ness can get on the field right away. Because, it's going to likely be him and Preston Smith starting, and Kingsley Enagbare and Justin Hollins backing up. So, pretty much, it's good measure. But regardless, I'm very stoked at some guys that are still available right now. I mean, I looked at some of the names of the people that are still available, and it's shocking. These guys we could still get a hold of some of these guys. This has been a very interesting draft. Also, congrats to Milwaukee native Will McDonald. He obviously went to Iowa State, but he got drafted by the Jets. So, congrats to Wisconsin home. And then here I'm just gonna, I am not going to talk much about him, but I am excited for LUKAS Van Ness because he has so much upside. That's the people that Goody likes. Seems like a great guy. I'm super excited. So today, what do you think the Packers should do today? This is where you get the tight ends and the receivers. Or offensive linemen. But you know what? I'm fine with either. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, and tight end are the 3 positions you'll need. I will say this, don't go for safety. I think they should bring back Adrian Amos. I think at this point, if Adrian Amos, since he has not been re-signed yet, I don't think I'd go after him. And 2, I'm already hearing that they might actually move Rasul Douglas to safety. It's very possible. He has played that position also. So I could totally see that happening. But I do not believe that they are going to be doing much with the safety position. I think here is where you go after, those people. So here are some of the players that I have listed down that have not been taken yet. Quarterback Will Levis. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Will Levis has not even been taken yet. Shocking. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback out of Tennessee. He was a Heisman candidate before he got injured. Wide receivers that are still available that could have went the first round better here. Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Great player. Josh Downs out of North Carolina, another great receiver. Tight ends, Michael Mayer. I'm just shocked about that one. Luke Musgrave, Darnell Washington, Sam Laporta, Luke Schumacher. Those are all some great tight ends that are still available. Offensive linemen, Osiris Torrance, John Michael Schmitz, Matthew Bergeron, Dewan Jones. Those are some offensive linemen that are still available that the Packers could easily take if they're available. Defensive lineman Keon White was a guy I actually had thought the Packers might actually go after, but thankfully I'm happy they didn't. Linebackers Drew Sanders and Trenton Simpson are some guys that are high picks for the second round. Very exciting. Corners, Joey Porter Jr. was expected to be a first-round pick. He was not drafted as well as DJ Turner and Keely Ringo. Both those guys could have went in the first round, but not drafted. And the safeties, Brian Branch is obviously the big-name safety that's going in this draft. He has not been drafted, as well as Antonio Johnson. This has been a very interesting draft so far. Packers, I know, gotta go after the tight ends and the receivers. I hope it's Darnell Washington. Honestly, you could go after 2 in this pick, but I think what will happen is Darnell Washington will be number 42, number 45 will be a lineman, and the third round pick will be a receiver. That's my best bet for the Packers right now. But we'll see what happens. Anything could happen. We could trade those picks and try to trade up. You never know what's going to happen with Goody. He could do anything. But that's all I'm going to say. So, if you like what you see, subscribe below, comment with your thoughts, and I'll obviously see y'all later when I discuss tomorrow's picks, and then Saturday, I will obviously do my official grade of the draft. So, without further ado, go Pack Go. We'll see you next time.